I need to restitch part of this pattern. I had a problem with the thread. Now I need to restitch this line, this curve right here, but I need to get everything lined up so that I don't have a problem with everything matching. I'll select this, right click, get my nodes. I'm going to divide at this point, divide at this point, go down here, divide it at this point, and this point. If I can get it, there it is, divide it. Okay, now the reason why I did it this way is I'm going to show you. You see my needle is at that point, but it's not lined up. So I am going to relocate this section. Relocate, shift selected to one point. I will click on that point there and click yes, and zoom in and see how that one is, that point right there. Now this is the small section and I don't care what happens there, but that's all lined up. If I wanted to, I could connect that back. Wouldn't make any difference. I'll select this and bring it in. I have end snap turned on down here. I can bring this over to there. Okay. I'll change my machine head position. Bring it down to this other point. To right, put my needle right at that point. And this is more precise, I believe, in using the laser. So what I'll do here is, you can see it's off a little bit. I'm going to take this and I'm going to relocate it. Shift selected to one point. I'm going to, on that point, click yes, and we'll zoom back in. I wish this stayed zoomed in. You can see this point here has been moved over to where the needle is located. I'll just go ahead and connect that back. All I have to do now is take that and move it into position and connect it where that is. And that should stitch out okay. We'll see what happens. Okay, I have to toggle this part of this pattern as unsewn. Now if I click over here, you can see that it is unsewn, so I'm going to stitch it. Okay, that worked very well. So that's one of the ways that I do that type of operation. Okay, here's another idea that I have used many times. You see this little pattern? I made this up a long time ago just for the purpose of doing a relocate like this. And here's what I do is I'm going to move this out of the way and get rid of it. And I needed to restitch this line. So in order to ensure that everything was going to line up, I just placed that little pattern where I needed to restitch, and I made sure that everything was going to work. Okay, I'll get that in position. Okay, I needed to restitch this line here, and I have the needle on the quilt at this point right there. So what I did was I have made this pattern a long time ago as a marker, and what I'll do is put that on the screen. I'll change my reference point to start point, and my needle now, remember, sitting at this point physically on the quilt. So I'll click OK and place that pattern there. Now that gives me something to work with, and I can do a couple of things. I can either just select this curve, get the end anchors, end snap is turned on. I could just drag that over and snap it to the end of that. Then I can grab this one and get the end anchors, drag it over like that, go down to the point down here, move my machine. This has worked very well in the past. I've been using this idea for a long time. So I placed the needle down at the ending of where this needs to be. I'm going to get this, I've got this pattern, I'll go repeat patterns, change it to end point, place it on the screen. Now I know that that pattern is, nope, I selected the wrong thing. I don't want end point, I want start point. There you go. Now, start point is where the needle or the crosshair is. And I'll just grab this, end snap is on. Now I have the end anchors. I'll bring it to there. I'm going to go ahead and move this. I don't need to, but I'm going to move it over there like that. Take this, toggle it as sewn. It wouldn't sew anyway. Toggle this as sewn, and now I can stitch this out. And I have already stitched it out, but I'm showing you how I went about doing this to get this to relocate to where it's supposed to connect. So that's how I do that. I need to toggle this as sewn. If I don't, it's going to go and bang into the rollers after I roll the quilt. So that's a little idea you can use maybe. I'm going to just get rid of these, don't need them. Okay. So that's something for you to think about when you have to restitch part of a pattern. I like to stitch from a point to a point. Like if I had to restitch this, I'd take it out to that point and to this point, and I would just stitch the whole thing in. That's not always possible. If it is possible, I will do it that way.